Despite huge budgets, massive teams and stunning visuals, modern AAA strategy games, e.g. City Builders, Grand Strategy and Forex titles, are still facing stiff competition from older games and even indie studios working with just a fraction of the resources. Why is it that games from 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago still dominate the Steam charts? Why do indie developers regularly release deeper, smarter and more beloved titles than the biggest studios in the industry? Today we're going to break down the real reasons why AAA strategy games struggle and how indie and older classics still manage to not only compete but often surpass. Let's dive in. Number 1. Strategy gamers value depth over flash. Strategy gamers aren't like mainstream audience. We don't show up for explosions, cinematics and motion capture actors. We show up for deep systems, real decisions, complex simulations, replayability and satisfying long-term mastery. AAA studios often assume that bigger graphics equals bigger game, but in the strategy genre, gameplay depth has always mattered more than visual fidelity. Games like Civ 4, Frostpunk 1, Total War Shogun 2 or even SimCity 4 are still beloved because their mechanics are tight, well designed and endlessly replayable. Indies know they can't compete graphically, so they focus on the one thing strategy players truly care about: deep, meaningful systems. Number 2. AAA budgets come with AAA constraints. It is the uncomfortable truth. The bigger the budget, the less room there is for risk. AAA studios have shareholders, deadlines, marketing demands, sales forecasts. They must appeal to a wide audience as possible. Strategy games, by their sheer nature, are a niche genre, so AAA developers simplify mechanics, cut complexity and create games that look impressive in trailers but often feel bland in actual gameplay. Indies, on the other hand, have no corporate board, are designed with passion instead of analytics, can afford to target niche audiences, iterate quickly based on player feedback. It's that freedom often leads to a better, more focused game. Number 3. The feature regression problem. One of the biggest frustrations players have with modern AAA titles is they often ship with fewer features than older games. For example, City Skylines 2 launched with many tools modders had added in the first game. Civ 6 simplified deployment in AI compared to Civ 4 and Civ 5. Total War games removed depth from older titles in exchange for speed and spectacle. SimCity 2030 famously removed core simulation elements that Sim 4 had perfected. To long-time strategy fans, this isn't progression, it's actually regression. Meanwhile, indie developers usually build around one central idea and keep expanding on it, often resulting in deeper mechanics in AAA projects. Number 4. Simulation complexity overwhelms modern engines. Ironically, as computers get more powerful, simulations get harder to run. Modern graphics engines aren't always designed for thousands of AI agents, complex economic models, deeply interconnected systems, emergent behaviour and realistic logistics. Older games with simpler graphics could pour more CPU time into simulation, and indie engines are built around this clarity and efficiency. The result? Older games feel more alive because the systems were optimised for depth, not graphics. AAA often ends up fighting their own engine limitations and simulation quality suffers. Number 5. AI hasn't improved much and sometimes gets worse. Strategy and Forex games rely on strong AI. Without it, the game collapses. But here's the problem. As systems get more complex, good AI gets harder to design. AAA development cycles are short and AI is expensive to build and test. So modern games often release with AI that cheats, AI that stalls, AI that simply doesn't run as the core mechanics. Simplified system designed around weak AI. Indies often avoid this by designing smart constraints. Games like RimWorld, Factorio, Songs of Conquest, or even Dwarf Fortress feature tight, intelligent AI because the systems are designed to support it. AI doesn't need to be expensive, it just needs to be smartly designed. Number 6. Modding makes older and indie games immortal. One of the biggest reasons older and indie titles continue to thrive is simple: modding. Older games were built during an era when developers wanted players to modify, customise and expand the experience. Today, many AAA studios lock down the systems, limit mod support, restrict tools to protect DLC revenue, fear modders outshining paid content, avoid open AIs for business reasons. Meanwhile, games like City Skylines 1, RimWorld, Dwarf Fortress, Banished stay relevant for years because players can reshape them endlessly. Modding isn't just an extra, it's the lifeblood of strategy games. Number 7. Indies understand the audiences better. A lot of indie developers are either hardcore strategy fans, modders from classic communities, hobbyist system designers, long-term players themselves. They deeply understand what the genre needs and what players want. AAA designers, on the other hand, are often tasked with hitting market goals, appealing to non-strategy audiences, reducing complexity to improve accessibility, fitting the game into corporate quarterly schedules. As a result, AAA titles often feel they've been made for everyone, which ironically means they end up pleasing no one. Number 8. The long-term trend, indie dominance. The trend has become undeniable. Indie studios aren't just competing with AAA in strategy and simulation, they're dominating. We're seeing more innovation, more long-term support, better design discipline, fewer corporate compromises, greater community involvement, higher replay value. Strategy games reward good design, not big budgets. Right now, the best design in the genre is coming from the indie studios and passionate developers, not giant publishers. In conclusion, so why do modern AAA city builders, 4X games and strategy titles still face such fierce competition for the older indie games? Because deeper design, smarter mechanics and player first priorities is still matter more than scale and spectacle. Old games had freedom, indie games have passion, all AAA games have got a pressure. And in a genre built on complexity and creativity, that difference is everything. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know in the comments. Which older or indie titles do you think still beat today's AAA titles? Thanks for watching, and keep strategizing, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, see ya, bye.